Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Trains Per Network. Enjoy the trains, enjoy this intro.
Look at that! Aha! Welcome back, 400! Welcome back!
Welcome everybody. Welcome everybody to part 3, the final part of the history of the Arizona Rattlers. As we're going to talk about now, the league they're currently in, the Indoor Football League. Obviously, if you went back to our last part, you knew that on October 17, 2016, the Rattlers announced they'd be joining the Indoor Football League, leading the Arena Football League. But let's talk about the years. 2017. This was, by the way, this move for the Arizona Rattlers going to the IFL. This would make Phoenix by far the largest market in the Indoor Football League. Year number 1 for them, 12-4. They were first in the division. 12 wins, coming twice against Colorado, twice against the Green Bay Blizzard, twice against the Nebraska Danger, twice against, and folks, be ready for this name, the Salt Lake Screaming Eagles. Twice against the Cedar Rapids Titans, and twice against the Spokane Shock. And how about it, for their first ever year in this league, they went out and won the 2017 Union Bowl against the Sioux Falls Storm by a final score of 50-41. How about that for a year number 1? Now, September 2018, they were 11-3 second in the IFL stands, because this was during the time they didn't have a lot of teams really to say it. And they had 11 wins, twice against Sioux Falls, 3 times against Green Bay, 3 times against Nebraska, and 3 times against Cedar Rapids. But here's a cool fact about this. On April 29th of 2018, when the Rattlers beat Cedar Rapids by a final score of 84-83. That was Arizona's 300th win in their franchise history. That is right. They went out and got their 300th win franchise history against that in a heck of a game. They did make the playoffs, but unfortunately they lost in the semifinals to a team you may be hearing for next season also. Sioux Falls beat them by a final score 69-68 in overtime duel. Heading into 2019, and oh man, how about this? Undefeated in the regular season, a 14-0 record, obviously first place. Their wins came once against Green Bay, once against Cedar Rapids. They beat the Crudda Tucson 4 different occasions. Beat Sioux Falls twice, San Diego 4 occasions, and Nebraska once. But you would think this team could go on and win the Union Bowl. Unfortunately, this team lost in the Union Bowl 2019 to Sioux Falls by a final score of 56-53. But this was one of those controversial games. We're going to say the minimum, because Kevin Guy heavily was blaming the officiating. And this is not the only time you're going to hear Kevin Guy blaming the officiating. There is another one that we'll talk about in another season here. Obviously, 2020, it was a COVID year, so we never found out what happened in 2020. So nothing to say. But ahead of 2021, a 12-2 season for this Arizona team. Wins coming against Northern Arizona, the Green Bay Blizzard, 3 different occasions against Tucson, Duke City twice, the Spokane Shock, Sioux Falls, and the Frisco Fighters. But again, another year they got so far, but they lost the Union Bowl for the second year in a row, this time to the Massachusetts Pirates in a final score of 37-34. And that brings us to 2024. After 2 straight championship defeats, could they get it this year? Well, 13-3 in the regular season, and they went out and got 3 wins against Duke City, 2 wins against San Diego, 2 wins against Vegas. They beat the Frisco Fighters, Tucson twice, the Pirates twice, Bay Area twice, and Northern Arizona once. But unfortunately, they did not do it. They lost in the let me look here, in the conference finals to the league champions of 2022, the Northern Arizona squad, and the final score of this game was 52-51. So Northern Arizona took the hand on Arizona, and another year they couldn't do it. 2023 then came upon us, 11-4 on the year. Wins coming against Quad City, Duke City twice, the Tucson Oilers 3 times against Northern Arizona in the regular season, Vegas, Bay Area, San Diego, and the Massachusetts Pirates. But again, in the first round of the playoffs, Northern Arizona again beats the Arizona Rattlers in the playoffs again by a final score of 62-53. Another year, your in-state rival has beaten you in the playoffs. Could 2024 be the sign for this team? Could they finally get to the title game and win it? Well, this year, 11-5 on the year, 3rd within the Western Conference. Wins coming against twice the Northern Arizona Wranglers, twice against the Iowa Barnstormers, Jacksonville once, Tucson twice, Duke City, San Diego, and San Antonio. And this was the year this team went out and won the national championship of the IFL against the Pirates of Massachusetts, a team that denied them a chance to win another title back in 2021. This time, they went out and beat up on the Pirates by a final score of 53-16. And that brings us to the 2025 season. 10-6 season, 4th in their division. A weird year for that. 10 wins coming against the Tucson Sugar Skulls, twice against the Green Bay Blizzard, twice against San Antonio, twice against Northern Arizona, Bay Area, Vegas, and San Diego. But this year, San Diego in round 1 beat the Arizona Rattlers in a highly, and I will say this, a highly controversial game. Because if you have not followed the North Football League, look up San Diego versus Arizona playoffs 2025. You will hear about this story, about this controversial end that sends San Diego on and Arizona home. But that brings us to the end for the Arizona Rattlers on this 3-part series. And firstly, thank you guys so much. And if you did enjoy this, please do hit the like, hit the sub, and stay tuned because our next series will be on the Iowa Barnstormers. Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you for the next one. Peace out.